My birthday is March 20th, 1983.
Oh, you're like a master level Pisces. Maybe even or an Aries.
Right on the cusp.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
go
this
ahead.
is another Pisces.
And mine just passed February 24th, 1984.
You're a balanced Pisces.
Two Pisces together. What's that
Wow.
like?
Yeah. You guys got to write a book about that.
It's like for this Pisces here.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We really, really enjoy it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for what you're doing. It's such a needed message to take down the paradigm of pharma. And I feel like you're a complement to Joe Dispenza's work in the physical, not just to the energetic realm. So like truly such a blessing to find you. And we have a question.
Yes. Gary, we found one of the podcasts. You were talking to a group of like 4 guys. I think they're like fitness guys. You all had headsets on.
I remember.
Standing. You were all standing during the interview.
I remember that. That was the second one.
Okay. And you were talking about something. I've been a BMX stunt guy and then a stunt man for many, many years. So I've had loads and loads of slams and injuries. But then being an athlete, too, I work out all the time. And one of the things that you said when you worked out, that low back pain would alleviate, but then it would return when you're not. So mine is very similar. My whole left side has become extremely dominant over the right. Like the quad is bigger, the chest is bigger, bicep is bigger, even the jaw has become like it's all pulling to that side. And I noticed something that stood out to me. You said that the adductor could be one of the keys to untorquing that entire thing. So I guess.
Yeah. So the adductor a lot. I mean, the adductor in this area is the liver meridian. So that's where we also hold a lot of anger. And that because what that does is it pulls up and it causes the hip to torque and then the body has to torque around. But the way to get to that is not necessarily there because it's going to be tight in there. It's going to be usually here. So well, you guys, since you're partners together, you can do the partnered belly button release and the partnered ileocecal valve release. Because the belly button release here, what it does is it unravels this, which is the liver going down into here and then into there. And if we don't unravel this, even if this at your level, because of the physical trauma in your body as a stuntman, you got to go to the core of it right here, unravel it there, and then start to then move it out into the other areas. The biggest part is the hydration for you, because your body, because as a stuntman, you are actually always creating patterns and your body gets really tough. Like it learns how to resist the world. So hydration is going to be the most important part because you're teaching new behaviors. So what was happening is I'm adjusting in that podcast, we were still thinking about the body as bones being structured. And so we're adjusting the structure of the bones and then the fascia was pulling it back. The reason why is the fascia is dehydrated and contract. So it's like it's more dehydrated on one side, and that's typical for people, but it's the hydration that's going to get it. So the diatomaceous earth and the Irish sea moss or any other minerals that are good is the foundation. The Power Crook 30 or our foundation bundle supplements will get your body flowing easier so that when you move it, it doesn't have the restrictions. Because right now, that's your body's best way of holding itself together. It's contracted on one side. So it needs to loosen up, hydrate, and then move and breathe through it. It just takes a little bit of time. And if you want to DM me, what I'll do is I'll give you a set of routines that will help you work that out. But the partner maneuvers are the foundation of it.
And also all of Brian's injuries are on the left side. And we actually saw one of the healers and we are both lefties, even though we use right hand. Like I guess we got retrained in the educational system. But it's interesting how like everything that hurts, all of my scars are also on the left side. So I'm not sure if there is a correlation.
It's the spiritual side. The world's saying open up a bit more spiritually, a bit more feminine. And you're both doing a lot of masculine kind of activities. So
But even like when I'm working out, like the left side, he gets the burn first. Like I could do almost 10 more reps with the right side and it just won't burn.
Yeah, because
Like,
we develop patterns over time to create a repetitive action. That pattern is a contraction of the fascia in those areas to make the muscles more stable, not the muscles. And so that's why you can do something over and over again, because it's patterned in your body. That just means that there's a lot of imbalance in this area. And when the imbalance in this area goes away, then the rest of the body has to figure it out. Whereabouts are you guys living?
where are we living?
That was my question. We're in New Jersey.
We're in New Jersey, right on Hudson River, right across from
Manhattan.
So
But how can people come visit you? Like, is there an actual facility?
So here's the route, because obviously everybody wants to come and get treatment. And it was when I had the clinic, I had 3,000 people waiting. You can only imagine if we were doing treatments now, there would be 300,000. So it's not practical this way. So the way we do it is we have our 28-day reset and our lifestyle artist program. The lifestyle artists are able to come into our retreat centers and hang out, work with us. And that's a way where we can start putting hands on them. And the reason why is because I know that if I'm touching you, you've gone through all of the emotional stuff and all of the physical stuff that you need to, the prerequisites, so that when we touch you, you just don't go back. Because we can take a 27-degree scoliosis and in 30 minutes, bring it back to zero. But if they haven't done any of the work, their body's going to go back and it's not going to be pretty.
And they don't learn the lesson.
Yeah.
Because what happens is our lives are sick.
Yeah.
And then it creates pain or dysfunction or disease. And then you go to a practitioner, they fix it. You go back to your sick life and change nothing because the pain's gone. So what we were doing was we were enabling people to live with a dysfunctional life for a long period of time until it got to a point where it was so bad that we couldn't help them anymore. So the idea is to give people the tools along the way so they do it and then they feel the pain. They get the pain, they get motivated, they get inspired. Okay, I'm going to make a change. Then they start taking care of themselves. They take their power back. Then they say, I don't want to have chemicals in my food anymore. I don't want to have chemicals in my environment anymore. I don't want to have toxic relationships anymore. I want to break these patterns. So what we're doing is we're empowering people to do it themselves, because if you take away the pain from the lifestyle that they're living, then they continue to live it. The pain has to get great enough so that they're motivated to make that change and actually start to take care of themselves. And that's what's happening in healthcare right now. So we want people to go back into their life and clean that up. Then the end result is you don't need maneuvers. You don't need meditation. You don't need any of that stuff. We're meant to move. We're meant to squat. We're meant to be in nature. We're meant to have good connections with people. And we don't have that anymore. We're programmed through society and we work a lot and we have a lot of chemicals everywhere. So it's time to start cleaning it up. And that's where the 28-day life reset and the lifestyle artist program really start to dive into that stuff.
When we had the clinic, here's something that I realized. My brain is hardwired to see patterns. I'm literally a cryptologist, a pattern junkie, and I see patterns in everything. And what I noticed is people come in, I would fix their bodies, and then they had like an ankle issue, and then 2 years later they weren't coming to us all the time because we were really good at it, but 2 years later they come in, now their hip had a massive issue, and then I would fix that, and they're all happy. 2 years later they come in, now a car hit them. And I realized, and you know, it happens once, twice, 3 times, and then you start saying, wow, what bad luck, what bad luck. But by the time it's happened 1,000 times, at some point I have to say, somehow I'm responsible for this too. And there's a lesson, because it keeps coming up in my awareness, which is if I take away the pain from them as a practitioner, they don't learn the lesson. The lesson that they're about to get is way worse than the one that they have. And the hardest thing it was for even my family is to stop fixing them. Because sometimes they're in a lot of pain and I want to fix my kids or help them. And I'm like, well, let's talk about this. Let's work through it. And what we found when we were 3 working together, taking clients, patients still, clients, I guess, we would talk to them for an hour and a half to 2 hours before we even touched them. So in a 3-hour session, it was 2 to 2.5 hours of talking and 30 to 40 minutes of touching. And that was way more effective than 3 hours of therapy. So it's understanding, and the bodies are our way of expressing to the world what works and what doesn't work. And it doesn't matter what our spiritual beliefs are. We land in this fluid, adaptive, biological computing system. It has rules. And it doesn't matter what we believe about it. It has rules. And as we learn those rules and we communicate with it, it starts communicating back in a healthy way.
And it sounds to me like the two of you, you're doing Joe's stuff, right? And so you're at this you're at this level
Yeah.
where your perceptions, your emotions in your physical body, you know, they're wanting to up level. And so there's a lot of emotion that's always trapped in the body.
Yeah, once you start opening Pandora's box. Yeah, like for me, one of the signs was I opened Pandora. If you look at the old videos, I went, poof, I was like Santa Claus there for a year because, and no, doesn't, I fasted for 44 days. I was still legitimately over like heavy weight, like belly. And I'm like, where did that come from? And this is where we started questioning the whole ideas of what fat is and what the body and how it works.
You can't have a physical release without having an emotional release, a mental release, a spiritual release. So if you do something physical, then you start getting a release in the other ones.
If you do something spiritual and perceptual, you get a release in the
body. And so what
change the pattern in the field, and you'll change the pattern in the body.
Right.
And what we also did in the last month was we took 10 people from around the world with different backgrounds of different cultures, different languages. We all came together and we lived at the retreat center. And what we did is a 28-day life reset. But this time we had core values, we had belief systems, we had a way of operating, and we all moved together in the morning and we expressed our emotions. We talked about the uncomfortable. When there was conflict, we sat together as a community and we talked about it. And what we're doing is we're breaking down the social programming that's disconnecting us. So if I have a problem with you and I don't tell you, I hold that in my body and you feel it, you can't understand it. And that problem has to resolve itself somewhere else in our interactions in the future. So then it's like you didn't put a dish away and it makes you really angry, but it's not in alignment with, you shouldn't have that much anger for me not putting a dish away. And so we're going back to the beginning of those toxic, those harmful, those patterns that we've been holding, that we've had our whole life. And we're as a team, we've collectively gotten together and said, I know that you might bring anger out in me. And I know why. I see the pattern. You did this. And back when I was 3 years old, that happened to me and it made me feel that way. And so we're healing those patterns. So we're actually doing it in person because you can't hide. Everybody has a roommate and you can't run away. You can't avoid it. It's part of the system so that we can start to squeeze out all of these things that are holding us back from being who we really want to be and connecting with people, because we are social. The reason why you want to be antisocial is because your body's not okay, your emotions are not okay, your thoughts are not okay, your lifestyle is not okay. But once you clean all that up, you want to be around people, you want to connect with people, you want that. So that's really what we're doing here. And this reset was extremely transformative for me because I was able to see a whole new level of what's possible.
And we're planning to have 12 of these centers around the world by the end of this year, and by the end of next year, several hundred. And the reason why, and if you want to go on one of these retreats, the minimum ante upfront is going to be like 28-day reset. And then, but right now it's lifestyle artists. So we love you guys to join the program. We'll see you going through there. And when it gets to the time that you're here, you'll be ready for the work, because if we took all the pain away at once, it would cause havoc in the rest of your life. And we've learned not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're beginning the 28, 7 day, and then
we
the 28.
started with 1 day and then 7 day and then 28 day. We are big fans.
Yeah,
It's
we'll start to.
a really big bow to all of you, all three of you, not only to work together and live together, but also bring that message. It's so needed for the humanity. We are big fans. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you both. Have a lovely day. Nice to meet you. We'll see you soon.
Bye.